Hello friends, in this lesson, I am going to discuss about another one of the very important topic in writing skill, speech writing. This topic is very important for all the students, but especially for 11th and 12th class students, it is very important, okay, for their examinations. This question will come for 4 marks in the examination, right? So before we start how to write a perfect speech, let me tell you something about the very important language skills. As we know, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. These 4 skills are very important for language learning as well as teaching. But here we will have more stress on language learning. So we should be a good speaker, but how it happened? So the very basic thing is we need to understand some rules and regulation about speech. And here in this segment, actually, when we use the word speech, we thought it is all about speaking skill. But in examination, you have to write the speech. That is little bit different task for you. Okay. So you just need to imagine you are speaking. Okay. You are delivering a speech in front of the audience, and then you have to write the speech in a perfect way. So let's start the discussion about this speech writing. Most of the time, we used to say this speaker is very effective, okay, for some speakers. And at the same time, we deliberately used to say this speaker or that speaker is not that much effective. In the very different way, we used to say it is boring speech, okay. So why it happened? It depend on that speaker, okay, that individual speaker, in which way he presented his topic in front of the audience, right? So definitely speaking is not just an activity, it is a skill. And where there is a skill, we need to develop it. We need to enhance it in a particular way, right? So therefore, first of all, we have to understand speech is a skill process and we need to develop it in a different way with the use of different things, right? And therefore, in the general way, 2 types of speeches are there. One type of speech, we take it in a very positive way. This is so motivated, inspiring speech, okay? We like to listen such types of speech, but at the second side, we thought this is not that much good or so-called boring speech, right? So it depends on that individual speaker how we should take it, right? Actually, a speech is an effective way of communicating a message to a large audience, right? And it is one of the way of spreading awareness regarding social issues or giving information regarding other important issues, right? So as a form of writing, a speech is similar to an article, expect that it begins with a formal address to the audience, right? Means the purpose of speech may vary person by person or that individual person, but we should follow a particular format for that speech, and that is the most important thing. Means generally it starts with the proper beginning and ends with the concluding remark. That is what we call the uh, gratitude or thanking to the another person, right? The most important thing, students, a speech is written for a specific purpose, and we need to understand this thing. We are not writing the speech or delivering the speech without having a proper purpose, right? behind that, we need a specific purpose. And that purpose, sometime like informing about a particular thing to the audience, sometime persuading or convincing about a particular thing, or entertainment maybe. Okay, so different types of purposes behind that speech is there, right? So let me tell you something very important about this speech writing, some very specific tips for speech writing, or what we call the tips which based on the format of speech writing. Okay, so uh, how we should start our speech writing. Okay, first of all, as I already told you, we have to convince ourselves that writing a speech and delivering a speech, though these two things are different. Okay, but when we are writing a particular speech, we should convince ourselves that we are not simply writing the speech, but at the same time delivering that speech in front of the audience. Then we have or then we can write the speech with the proper positive mind or that approach. Okay, so our speech should start with title, or we can call it heading. Okay, means definitely the purpose behind that speech. Okay, and the second and most important thing, actually when we deliver the speech, we cannot use the word title or heading, but here we are going to write the speech. Therefore, we need a particular title or the particular headline for that, heading for that speech. Okay, so I hope you understand what I mean to say, because of, for the sake of writing. Okay, the second most important thing, and that is greetings, and especially in 2 or 3 lines. In this greeting, we have to explain why we are writing this speech, why we are delivering this speech. The purpose behind delivering the speech should be explained in this greeting, and it should be started with salutation. Okay, that is the most important thing. So we can include, or we can compile it in 2 or 3 lines in a very proper way. Okay, then the most important thing about the speech is we have to introduce our topic in a very perfect way. Okay, and yes, in the 4 or 6 lines. But when we introduce, introduction begins with greetings, as I already told you, just like respected principal, respected chief guest, teachers, and other listeners. You can use different ways. Okay, it may includes a striking statement. Okay, we should use some striking statements, uh, a short anecdote, or a saying anything to the audience, okay, which they take interest in a different way. Then the topic of the speech will be announced along with the occasion if required. Okay, the most important thing, if it is required, then we should announce it in a very proper way. Okay, now after having introduction of our topic, we should be present our topic in a very impactful way. Okay, and when our introduction of that topic is in up to the end, okay, that time we should end that introduction sometime with a question, sometime with a proverb or quotation. That is the perfect way. Okay, it will be include sometime a sentence of ideas to build up to summing up and conclusion for that particular paragraph. I am talking about introduction. Okay, and that is the most important thing, right? Now the next and most important thing in this speech writing, obviously the main content or the body of that particular speech. Okay, actually we should use 2 paragraphs, not the same one paragraph for that content. Okay, we can divide it into two paragraphs, and each paragraph carried 5 to 6 lines. Okay, in this paragraph we have to explain all the minute details. We have to write about the comparison of that particular topic with the present scenario and the past events. Okay, and what is the future of that topic in the further days. Okay, that is the most important thing. Then some problems and solutions related to that topic. Okay, just imagine you are writing about global warming. Okay, so you can explain it with the comparison of past and present days. At the same time, we can flourish that topic with the problems and what are the solutions of that problems. Okay, in this way. And after having a proper main content, the two most important paragraphs for that or for this speech writing, because in the format of speech writing, 2 marks for that main content. Okay, 1 mark for title, greetings and introduction, and remaining 1 mark for the concluding remark. Okay, so this is very important part of this speech writing. Okay, now after having these 2 paragraphs, we should be conclude the topic or that speech writing in a very perfect way. Okay, so therefore in the conclusion we should be either we should end it with either suggestions, sometime having a proper suggestion to the audience, sometime we need to appeal to the audience, or taking pledge, okay, for that particular topic, just like global warming, pollution and whatnot. Okay, and the most important thing, conclude with a quote or phrase or sayings sometime. Okay, so the thing is very much clear. When we just try to summing up the most important points in the speech, and we should take care that we are not going to repeat all the points in the writings. Okay, conclusion, it doesn't means the repetition of the point. It means we have to conclude that given information in a very unique way. Okay, that is the conclusion. And conclusion, depending on the purpose of your speech. Okay, the most important thing, purpose is very important. Or sometime conclude with a call for an action, appeal, warming. Okay, sometime we should give warning, especially for that global warming issues, such types of issues, environmental issues, a request to the audience, or an expression of thankfulness. These things are really important. Now let me tell you some technical things about this speech writing. Okay, we should keep some things in the mind, especially for this speech writing. First and most important thing, a speech should begin with a catchy introduction, right? As I already told you, we need catchy introduction for that speech, right? Then a speech must reflect the speaker's clarity of thought, as well the accuracy of facts. Two things are there. Number one, the clarity of thought, and number two, the accuracy of facts. We are, or we cannot write anything in that speech, right? We need some evidence, accuracy about the facts, and this is very important. And whatever you are writing there, you should be clear about that particular thought, and this is very important thing. Okay, at the same time, our comparison should be balanced. Okay, I'm talking about that main content. Okay, then it should clarify a particular view site or a viewpoint about that issue, right? Another most important thing about this speech writing is a speech may also give some references to newspaper, reports, posters, advertisements, and other things, other important documents. Okay, this is very important. And the last thing about the format of speech writing is it should be restricted the main part of the speech to the having the word limit of 150 to 200 words. This is very important. Okay, we should have a particular uh, limit for this speech writing, and this is really important in many ways. Okay, now we have one example here on your screen. This example is for writing a speech as a secretary of youth club, okay, to appeal to the audience, right? So therefore you can observe here a proper salutation, introduction, opening statement, which is related to the issue, then the further details about that particular issue, right? And what should we do in the future? That is what we call future action or suggestions. And the conclusion, what we call summing up that particular speech in a proper way. Okay, so friends, this is what we call all about the speech writing. One another very important thing about this speech writing is, if you want to write a proper speech, then the very basic thing is you need to listen some important speech, okay, some important names about this section of speakers, some motivational speakers. Okay, just go and listen, and then you get idea how can we write a proper speech in the examination. Okay, so that's all about speech writing. Hope this information is enough for this writing skill. So thank you so much. See you in the next lecture.